All right, so everybody, welcome back to the Bremen VFW 8972 podcast. Once again, I'm Brandon Woodward, Junior Vice Commander. This is Brian Shoemaker, our commander here. We have got Shawn Bolinger here.
Right. Yeah.
United States Marine Corps, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So before we get into it a whole lot, I think we just need to, once again, our jackpot's getting bigger and everything, and to thank not only the community that's coming out supporting the club. We appreciate each and every one of you, but a huge thank you to all the volunteers that are here. We have volunteers here today working on the other side of the club, making that dining room better. So, I mean, from the officer corps at the VFW, you volunteers are what make this happen, and we appreciate every single one of you, and can't thank you enough.
Absolutely. Well said.
So, all right, so we're here with Shawn, United States Marine Corps.
Yep.
From when? When'd you join the Marines?
Right out of high school, 1989 to 1995.
No kidding.
Yeah.
So out of high school. So high school was where?
Mishawaka High School.
Michigan. So home ground,
Yeah,
hometown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I should have gave it away, right?
Yeah, should have.
Yeah. So you grew up in Mishawaka then?
Yeah.
Is that where you spent your entire childhood?
Pretty much, other than being in the Marine Corps, Mishawaka.
No
Back
kidding.
from the Marine Corps, went to Mishawaka, worked there for a while, and then 6 months ago moved to Bremen.
No shit. That's
Yeah.
pretty wild.
Yeah.
So just normal childhood in Mishawaka, or what influences did you have to make you think about Marine Corps, or just wanted to leave Mishawaka?
Oh no, my dad was a Marine.
Your
My
dad was a
grandfather
Marine.
was in the Army. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, he was a Marine in Vietnam.
So you're third generation.
Yeah. Yeah. As a matter of fact, never thought of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same with me.
So your granddad was in the Army, your dad was a Marine. That apparently had a lot of influence on you coming up, or no?
In hindsight, it did. During the time, no.
Right.
No.
Really?
Yeah. My dad worked at Dodge's, and then they closed, shut down. He got a job after quite some time of being unemployed. Got a job at Uniroyal.
Mm-hmm.
So Uniroyal was
Downtown.
Yeah. So he worked there. So we had a good life. He provided good for us, but it was still, factory dad. I didn't realize, I knew he was in the Marine Corps, but he didn't have anything out.
Mm.
There were no pictures or anything like that.
Nothing to show pride or like you should do this or that.
Yeah. Nothing from my grandfather. I knew he was in the military, but I didn't even know what branch he was in.
Mm-hmm.
After I got out, came home from boot camp, then talking to my dad. Then the pictures come out, you start seeing and hearing, and then my mom starts telling stories about how we met in California, and your father was in the Marine Corps.
No.
You're part of the brotherhood at that point.
At that point, I was like, I knew he was in the Marines, but wow, my dad was a Marine, I'm a Marine, this is kind of cool.
That's pretty crazy. So he never really brought it up a lot during your childhood.
No, not at all. I mean, I knew he was. If he was asked, he would answer questions, oh yeah, you're in the Marine, yeah, I was.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, it was something I knew, but something I didn't realize.
Right.
Once you're in the military, you realize, oh, this is the military. This is what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
This is cool and hard at the same time.
And do you think that so I guess in my mind I'm thinking a lot of different things, because that is like, that's a father-son kind of bond right there. But also, is it a bit of like a military bond? Like when we get out of the service and we're just out in civilian life, right? And people ask about your experience in the Marine Corps or Air Force, or we've had, Army people on, stuff like that. It's almost, when you're talking to somebody that hasn't experienced it, you just say things like, yeah, I was in, yeah, I done this. Then when you talk to somebody that was in the service, that conversation's completely different.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because about an hour ago, it's like,
yeah,
we're at this place and this place and this place, and otherwise it's just a short conversation where you're just like, yeah, I was in Japan, or I was there. Or
Yeah.
Like when I was there. Oh, did you see this? Oh, I was over here. Oh, I was there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember this part of the DMZ and all that stuff?
Yeah. It was.
It's relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like when we talked about anything in the military, or when he was, he was a F4 Phantom engine mechanic, but he got out, but then he became Admiral Orderly. Yeah, I kind of know what he's talking about. Oh,
Right.
he was on an aircraft carrier. He was the Admiral's Orderly. I know that job. I could understand what he did, but then he would go into the details because I didn't do that MOS. And he would tell about when the Admiral this, and I would have to be here at this minute. He told a story about a time that he was supposed to pick him up and traffic was bad, and you did not miss picking up the Admiral.
Right.
If you were the Marine in charge of picking that guy up and his security, you were early, and if you weren't early, you were late.
Well, the Marines don't fail, right? That's
right.
Yeah.
And he got this traffic, and he was late. And you could see the excitement in his eyes and the anxiety from what happened, and
Yeah, he's reliving it.
Yeah, exactly, reliving it, and then the pride when the Admiral knew that he was a good Marine and that he understood. You could see the relief in his face as he was telling the stories. It was really neat.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
So, to answer your question, yes, there are things you can relate to talking to another military guy that when you're talking to somebody who's never been in the military or civilian, you tell a story.
Well, it's a different language.
Yeah.
It's a different language.
Totally different understanding too.
Yeah.
Like you guys know, late is not early.
Right.
As civilians, I work with guys where on time is 5 minutes after 7 o'clock when you're supposed to start. No, that's not on time, bro. It's not right.
Yeah.
So yeah, different lingo.
It is like nobody knows what MOS is. I know what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Too, so,
True.
Yeah.
MOS, AFSC. There's just all these different
It is.
acronyms. that go-
Acronyms are fluent to us, and they're what?
Yeah.
What did he say?
So when you grew up, typical high school experience, all that stuff.
Yeah.
When you graduated, did you go to the recruiter saying, "I'm going Marine Corps," or was it, "I'm at a recruiter's office"? Because you go to a recruiter, they got Air Force, Navy, Army, Marine. It's like they're all in there together, and it's almost like a Shark Tank. Did you go to? Oh, sorry.
Well, I think back then, at least when I was going, they were separate.
Yes.
They weren't.
Oh, so they were
combined.
separate.
Like you didn't no, it's the next office down. Like, no, you're doing a different building.
Oh, okay. See,
Back
all
when
right,
I did it, and
yeah.
that was shortly after you. I went in 90.
Yeah, no, in Mishawaka, the Marine Corps recruiting building was off of McKinley.
So it was their own thing.
They had their own thing.
So you drove straight to the Marine Corps building.
I mentioned something to my dad about being a Marine.
Right.
No, I'm not signing.
So he said no.
Because you had that early entry.
Still? Yeah, the delayed entry program.
So you had the delayed enlistment and all that, and when you're 18, if that's what you want to do, you can decide to do that. He wanted college for his son. He wanted a better life, just like I want for my children.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
The military, if they chose it, I'd be fine with that. I'd be proud, very proud. But if they don't, I want to be successful. I want to,
Sure.
So it was a hard no. I turned 18 on April 5th, and I think it was April 6th or April 7th. The next day they were open. I went and signed up.
No shit.
Yeah. Scariest moment of my life was coming home and telling him I had signed up for the Marine Corps.
What'd he say?
No, you didn't.
No shit.
No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. And I think either he said or I thought, oh shit.
Yeah.
So when you signed up, did you have a job chosen, or did you wait and they picked it for you?
I did. I signed up
that's
with
the best way to do
what they call a guarantee.
Yeah.
Your first choice is your guarantee, your second choice is your guarantee, or your third choice is your guarantee, and then
Okay.
if not, 0311 grunt.
Yeah.
Your
Full
basic
picture.
infantryman. Yeah. So I signed up for avionics. I think it was 6,300 or whatever it was. I signed up for avionics. I was supposed to go to school in Memphis, Tennessee. So I was all happy. I was all proud. I'm like, oh, he worked on jet engines. I remember that. Oh, this is good. This is a good thing. I can get out. This career translates into the civilian world.
That's
Maybe I can get a
important.
job,
Yeah.
a career. That was my thought, my intent. He didn't quite see it that way. He just saw my son's a Marine. He's not going to college.
Right.
Yeah. So.
No, the military can be really beneficial.
Yeah.
You get paid to learn a job.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you get paid to learn instead of paying someone to teach you.
Yeah.
Right?
And then being the smart 18-year-old that I was, went through boot camp, went through a basic infantry school in Camp Pendleton, got to Memphis, and 2 days at Memphis, it was NAS Memphis. Guy walks in, he says, "Hey, we're looking for aerial navigators. It's a testing process. you have the ASVAB score that's high enough, would you be interested? I'm like, well, what do I do? You're gonna fly C-130s, you're gonna be an air crew, an aerial navigator. They're the only enlisted flight crew in the US freaking military. Really? I think I like this, let's do this.
Let's try that.
Hindsight says, oh crap, it's a dead end career, because, you know, Pan Am, United,
Yeah.
Delta, they got rid of navigators like a year before that, and I didn't know that. I didn't know, so I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a
It
pilot.
sounds badass though, doesn't
Yeah, I'm
it?
gonna be a pilot, I'm gonna be air crew, this is, I'm doing it, let me try
Right.
it. Went through the testing, passed the testing, then I went to Pensacola Naval Air Station for the Air Crew Candidate School, passed Air Crew Candidate School, because it's mostly swimming and survival. And-
So so typically, and I don't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
There's just so usually, like, so we've never had a Marine before, so I and typically we'll skip over basic a little bit, because basic. I mean, there's differences. Air Force, Army, Marine, or Navy. Obviously, they got their own basic trainings, and they're all different. But I think Marine Corps basic training, everybody always automatically goes to Full Metal Jacket, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I mean, most of the people always go Full Metal Jacket. That's exactly what they've ever seen about Marine Corps basic.
Yeah.
So can you take us a little bit through Marine Corps basic? What it was like? What I mean?
How
What it?
long?
Yeah. What that entailed?
Yeah, have you ever been to hell? 14 and a half weeks of hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, they had terms like gingerbread men. You heard that. You knew you were in deep crap.
Getting in
You
the
just
sand.
screwed up. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're in the sandbox and you're doing push-ups and bends and thrusts until the drill instructor gets tired.
Right.
You know, there was the running. You're always running. You're running from the barracks to formation, from formation to the chow hall. You go on your 3-mile runs every day.
Not allowed to walk.
No, you know, if you weren't running, you were marching.
Right.
You know, just basic. They destroy you as an individual.
Yeah, they all do.
Yeah.
Break it down.
Yeah, and then they build you as your group,
Right. What you need to be.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
a team. You
Yeah.
know, people nowadays will equate it to a team. I don't think of it as a team. You were you're a unit. You're a group. You're a family.
You're a machine.
You're a machine. Yeah. I mean, that's great. You're
Yeah.
a little piece or a little sprocket in that machine.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what was the hardest part of basic?
Oh, you want honesty, or do you want like physical? Like, oh, this was hard.
Whatever was on
Well, it
most
could be
honest.
mentally, but
Yeah.
Honestly, the hardest thing of boot camp was I had a top rack, the window faced the mountain in San Diego, and I could see the houses on the mountainside.
That's awesome.
And you would be
I love that.
You'd be in the rack every night, and you'd see the lights come on in the houses. Now you couldn't see if it was a TV or it was a bedroom light, but you saw a house, and you saw a light come on, and I went, dang,
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting
I'm here,
homesick.
and I could be there.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest part. I mean, in honesty.
Man, that's
that's reality.
That's reality. That's the reality of
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, just the little things, the little things you missed.
Yeah.
Like, what was the one thing I wanted when I got out of the Marine Corps? I didn't want to see a girl. I didn't want to see my family. I wanted a big frickin' Snickers bar and the Ponderosa buffet.
Yep.
You're my pile.
Yeah. So yeah, people don't realize they think sacrifice. Oh, you sacrifice.
That's what I was gonna say, sacrifice.
But there's so many other things you sacrifice, like those little
The
things.
simple
Yeah,
things.
the little
The
things.
little
The
things
things
in
that everybody
life.
takes for granted.
Yeah.
And you do.
Yeah.
And even after basic training, you still continue to do that, or
Yeah.
like in a deployed environment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, where'd you sleep, or where did it sleep?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, it was great. I could call home for 10 minutes before we got freaking rocketed.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
That would be the highlight of like your month.
yeah,
You know, and
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
5 minutes on the phone with somebody.
yeah,
Well, you got to see this, you got to do this. Wasn't that so exciting? No, it was that phone call,
Yeah.
or it was that hour of liberty where you booked it off base and ran to that McDonald's in Okinawa,
Yeah.
Japan.
Got a Big Mac.
Yeah.
Come back.
You know, so like, and I remember when we were in Australia, in Darwin, and we were doing training with the Australian Marines. And, you know, the highlight of that whole month, most people be like, oh, you're in Australia, you got to see this, you got to see that, you get to talk to Australia. Oh yeah, it was pretty cool. But while I was there, the highlight was going to that McDonald's And in Darwin in Australia, they put a dang beet on your freaking quarter pounder or Big Mac, whatever it was. I'm like, that's disgusting. But it was really cool. So what do I remember from Darwin, Australia? The most is it's this beet on a McDonald's sandwich.
Yeah. And that's the things that we take for granted when we're home,
Yeah.
when you're overseas, like,
Yeah.
it's like when I was in Korea or Osan, they have the shrimp burger at
Oh, really?
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, what in the world? Like, I gotta try that.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
The Miss Kim burger. Do you
Yeah.
guys remember that? On the Miss Kim had a little food stand. It's almost like a smash burger with an egg. It sounds disgusting. It had kimchi on it with
Uh-huh.
mayo and
Yeah,
all the
delicious.
catch. Oh, it was the greatest thing in life.
And, you know, the people talk about their favorite restaurant or like here, things that they don't see or understand. I remember in Thailand or in the Philippines, Korea, where was the best food found? This nasty little
In the
dirty
street.
Yeah.
an
Yep.
alley that teed at the street.
Yeah.
You're standing in a muddy, watery gutter, ordering something you don't know what it is and you don't want to know, but you know it was delicious. And you
I'll eat it. I'll eat it.
yeah, I mean, you take things like that. That's the good with the bad,
Yeah.
you know. So there was so much good little things. Then
Yeah.
I think this giant beetle, a tray full of beetles in Thailand, they brought. Which is, would you like to try this? And I think if I hadn't had like 5 or 6 beers, it would have been a hard no.
Yeah.
Ow.
Loosen up a little bit.
And
I'll
I'm
try
like,
one.
"Wow."
Yeah.
And you know, oh yeah, and to think about it was that's disgusting.
Yeah.
And then I think, but I did do it,
Yeah.
didn't I?
Yeah.
I think I did.
No, I had dog in Korea.
Oh yeah.
Like it used to be common, and then
Yeah.
now it's on special events like birthdays and whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
But
They
like,
had on
people
those
like,
big
oh,
spindles.
but they're like, no, they raise these animals to be that.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And it was it Korea, is it? I'm not sure. It was one of them that I went to. But the cats, you don't mess with the cats, and there's cats everywhere. Millions of cats everywhere because something about the human spirit
Mm.
goes and waits in a cat
Right,
until it's
yeah.
ready for its next. So you hear about neat things like that in other countries. You're like, why do they think that? That's freaking
Yeah.
weird. But
It's
that's
their culture.
That's their
Yeah.
norm. So you get neat things being in the military
Yeah.
if you open up your eyes. You know, you don't just stay on base and become a gym rat
Right.
or that freaking base bar bum.
Yeah.
You know.
So that's pretty cool. So we went through basic, and basic was
14 and a half weeks at the
That's
time
crazy.
with a week of indoc.
Mine was 6 weeks.
Yeah. So it's 15 and a half weeks total because that first week is indoc and then, well, it's half week of indoc where you get shaved,
Mm.
you get your stuff, you get your medical, you go through all that 2 or 3 days. Then you do your boot camp.
Right.
And then there was the 2 days after of processing, getting your orders, getting shipped out, waiting for your plane. Some guys would leave that very day, but
right.
But like your base trains all the infantry type shit, right? Like being
Oh.
a Marine, like that's your first job.
every Marine is an 0311. Every Marine is a basic infantry.
Yeah, and that's where you
basic
spend a lot of
drive.
time, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're marching. We spent almost a month out of Camp Pendleton, which is in your freaking
Out in the field.
Yeah, in your tent in the field with your
Yeah.
buddy, washing out of a canteen, brushing
Yeah.
your teeth out of a canteen, rifle range, going on force humps, right there. Yeah. So every Marine is a grunt.
So when I was a basic, like, so Air Force was probably the easiest one, but like, so we did our one day of the
Stupid.
the course, whatever I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
But, like, that's what I
Yeah.
expected to do every day, and it was like a 1 day thing. It was like all day obstacle course, and like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And like, and then I don't remember firing a weapon. They do it now because the Air Force is at 8 weeks now. They have
Yeah.
like where you guys go play. Like, well, I went in 1990. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
I think we did shoot, but now you guys do Warrior Week.
Yeah, we did Warrior Week, which is that. Yeah.
And it's stupid
Yeah.
because like you're wasting time and money because you're not going to be in that position depending on your job.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. and
so
see-
we're not trained to be that infantry person and then go do this other job. If you're going to be an admin person, why am I going to waste the time and energy to
Yeah.
teach you how to shoot?
And,
for the most part?
the Marine Corps' mentality is that you're there to fight.
Yeah.
You're there to fight.
Right.
We have other things we need to do, and if the crap hits the fan, you can fight.
Right.
Yeah.
So I I was an aerial navigator. That was my primary MOS. And I had a secondary MOS, which was a combat swim instructor. So I would requalify all the military, or all the Marines and their combat swim quals every year. They would have their training, whatever base I was on, I was part of that.
So you traveled to instruct them or qualify them?
If need be, if that base was short, so like when I was in Cherry Point, North Carolina, if Beaufort needed, they didn't have enough instructors or they wanted support, then you would go help them.
Yeah.
Usually each base had what they needed. So when I was stationed in Glenview NAS in Chicago, I did the combat swim quals for the guys there and kept them current, because you're supposed to do it every year.
Yeah.
And a couple times I got called to, what's the naval boot camp that was up there?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Chicago?
Yeah,
By
it's right
Navy
on Lake
Pier?
Michigan,
By
right?
Navy Pier.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that-
Yeah, so
yeah.
we had those veterans here the other day.
That's right.
About a month ago.
Yeah, and they were
Yeah.
stationed up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a boot camp up there back when I was there in the 90s. And the Marines actually did the swim quals and helped them for their boot camp.
Oh, nice.
So I went up 2 times and helped with
Okay.
that. So that was pretty exciting. And that was fun. So
how'd you get into that from the naval, like going back to Memphis where you went to school for?
So I was in Memphis. I passed all the testing. It was like a week of testing. It was like math, and they teach you something about navigation, aerial navigation, plotting, dead reckoning, all that stuff, and then they test you immediately. And they would have, I think, 20 people in there. They washed out all but like 5 of us.
Oh, really? So there's 15 people that
Oh
got
yeah,
kicked
the
out.
2 MOSs that I had were some of the highest attrition rate
Yeah.
Yeah.
classes. Like the combat swim instructor, a lot of that is parallel to some of the Navy SEAL swim quals and the American Red Cross. It's kind of a combination of those, because you're teaching Marines to survive in combat situations, all your gear, pack, rifle, get in the water and not die or drown.
Mm-hmm.
So that was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
So how did that go?
That
Where
was
was that
SEER
training in?
school. That was in
Where
North
was it?
Carolina, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina.
Okay.
That was rough.
Yeah, I bet.
bet.
Yeah, no
4
shit.
weeks of rough. You do 3 or 4 hours of classroom training, things of that. You're an instructor, and then 4 or 5 or 6 hours in the pool, hands tied. Treading water with just your feet. The final test was hands tied behind your back, feet tied, tread water for 30 minutes. It's like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, an underwater swim 50 yards with your hands tied behind your back. How am I gonna do that? A lot of kicking,
Wow.
So it was
I think it's
almost.
mentally like,
Yeah, oh,
just
yeah.
thinking about that, I can't imagine.
I would go to the barracks every night and think, I don't want to do this tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this tomorrow. Then I would wake up the next morning. All right, time to go to class.
Yeah.
Let's just do it and see if I make another day.
I heard a thing one time that said, so when we were training Fort McCoy, the guy said, if you're thinking about quitting, wait till lunch.
Yeah.
And then
That makes
once you
sense.
get to lunch, quit at dinner. And then once you're at dinner, quit when you're laying in your rack. And then the next morning, wait again till lunch till you quit.
It was like that.
Yeah, so I mean, when you
never
say,
heard
you're like,
Yeah.
man, I went back and I'm like, this sucks,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole, you see the movies, the Navy SEALs, go ring the bell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not gonna ring the bell in front of everybody. I'll just get through this and I'll do it at break.
Yeah. I'll
When
do that
nobody's
break.
around.
When nobody's here, yeah.
And then you get to break and you're like, I'll try some more.
Shit, I'm this far, might as
Yeah.
well keep going.
Yeah, and then halfway through the afternoon, like, no, I'm going to that bell.
Yeah.
When nobody's around, I'm going to that bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and it was the whole team, family.
You don't wanna fail.
mentality. I don't wanna fail in front of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't wanna fail in front of them, because I don't wanna let them down.
yeah,
So it's like, I'll make it to break when
Yeah.
nobody's around.
yeah,
Especially if they're the leadership or
Yeah,
like if they see you as one of the leaders, just naturally,
yeah. I
like
mean,
they're counting on me.
yeah, it's still to this day. You guys probably do the same, I'm sure of it. When I'm at work in Goshen,
yeah.
we have like pizza for the guys, or somebody will bring something in, or we'll have a cookout at the end of every season. So plow season's over, we'll have a cookout for the guys. It's that home, my guys first.
Yeah, yeah.
When they've all got their food,
Then I,
they're all sitting down. If there's anything left, I'll have something.
Yeah.
That's even that guy, I forget his name, wrote that book, Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the name of the book.
Yeah.
And so I cook at my normal job all the time.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you're gonna eat? I'm like, you guys go ahead.
Yeah.
And then the vice president started getting in there like, hey, Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah. They don't.
He's like, what? I'm like, you get that.
Yeah.
Come over here for a second.
A lot of people don't understand that.
He's like, you're the leader. I'm like, you're the freaking boss.
Yeah.
Like, I am a leader. But you're the vice president. You wait till you
Yeah,
guys
wait till everybody's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. So there's so many things you get from the military, but it's even little things like that.
Mhm.
That there's probably a lot of my guys in the shop that don't notice that I do that. And if they did notice, they don't know why.
Yeah.
But those are the little things that I think employers like.
Mhm.
And why do they look for some military people sometimes in certain jobs?
Mhm.
It's because they know that they're gonna go and above and beyond and do what they need to do to get things done, and they'll look after everybody with them in the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, don't have to worry about all those different liability things.
Right.
Well, that guy got hurt, why wasn't somebody watching him?
Right.
We did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we went from basic. So were you? So you were combat swim.
MCIWS, Marine Combat Swim Instructor, Water Safety and Survival.
That was 96.
No, I was
You got
I was
out
home by
in
then.
95. You got out in 95.
That's right, 95. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So
That was when I was in Chicago.
okay.
The base didn't have somebody that kind of.
But you were doing your
realized-
normal job.
Oh, yeah.
You're doing your aerial stuff,
Yeah.
plus that on the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so when I wasn't flying, and in Glenview, they called it then, I don't know what it is now, but it's I&I staff. To inspector, basically when the reservists come in, you help keep them qualified. So you go on flights with them, you get them current, you get them qualified,
Okay.
things like that. You know more qualified than they were, it's just they're not there every day doing
Right,
the
yeah.
day. They found out that they didn't have anybody, they were delinquent on some of the swim quals, so instead of sending them off to another Marine base to get them, they said, well, let's get somebody that is qualified.
Mhm.
Well, they found out that I was in swimming and a lifeguard in high school, so they asked me if I was interested. I'm like, oh, yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Until I got there and realized what it was, and it was not cool.
That'd be cool. I could swim.
There was
oh,
nothing-
by the way, yeah, you could swim. Well, I'm gonna tie your hands behind your
Yeah,
back.
there was nothing cool about it.
Yeah, I might be able to do that. Well, I'm gonna tie your legs too.
Yeah.
That's a different type of swimming.
Yeah, so 3.5 weeks later, got her done, came back, and
So now you were still. So your main job was in avionics, correct?
it was going to be an avionics technician.
Okay.
And when I went to that primary school after boot camp and basic infantry school,
Right.
that was supposed to be then my MOS training. And
You know,
that's when
I
they
think
nabbed
that's
me.
because doesn't every Marine go through basic infantry school?
Yes.
So that's another thing that
Yes,
that
you
a
do
lot
your
of other
boot
people,
camp.
you do your boot camp, but then you got like boot camp plus
Pretty
with
much,
basic
yeah.
infantry school, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
you,
I don't know if they still do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, in
yeah.
1989, you did your boot camp, you did your month of basic infantryman
Right.
school, then you went to your primary MOS,
Yeah.
and then once you did your primary S, you went to your permanent duty station.
Okay.
And either had continued training, which most people call OJT.
Right, OJT,
Continued
yeah.
training or qualification, whatever. So, and that was kind of, for me, it was boot camp, infantry school, and then I went to Memphis for what was going to be avionics.
Okay.
Got changed to my new MOS for 7300, 7372, Combat Aerial Navigator, C-130 crew. So that school went to Pensacola, Florida. You did your 3-4 weeks there of Air Canada crew,
Okay.
which is basically how to survive if your plane goes down, basic survival, which
It's like SEER school almost.
the tiniest piece of SEER school. It was like
Okay.
the first week or the first 2 days of SEER school, the survival part.
Okay, so you didn't have to go through the capture part.
No.
Get put in the barrel, all that
That's
No.
stuff.
fine.
Yeah.
All air crew do
Yeah.
that
Well, you do, but that was
before.
after. Yeah, they're not gonna waste, basically they're not gonna waste time on a Marine and training until they know that
You're
you're ready for that.
expendable.
I'm expendable, I can go right back to avionics.
Yeah, okay,
So I
yeah,
did
makes sense,
that,
yeah.
which you need to have to go to, and nav school is in Mather Air Force Base.
Okay.
So we did the actual navigation school in Mather Air Force Base, California. And after that, then went to Cherry Point, North Carolina for the actual combat qualified, doing CDS, the aerial refueling. The little things that weren't actual navigation which was the
More
C-130 Marine
specific,
part.
more
Yeah.
specific.
Now it's specific to your plane, your KC-130, what you do, RGR. things like that.
Okay, yeah.
After that was done, then I got stationed in NAS Glenview, for that was my permanent MOS, or my permanent duty station. And that's when I went to SEER School in Brunswick, Maine.
Okay.
There was a
That's
naval-
when you got put in the barrel.
That was when I got put in a box.
Yeah.
Butt naked, filling it with water, thinking I lost all track of
Yeah.
reality. I was going to die in a box in
Did
Maine.
you wind up signing the paper?
No.
No? Yeah, that's good on you.
There was one Marine there,
Mhm.
me. There was one Navy SEAL there, me, and then the rest was Navy because
Yeah.
it was a naval.
Yeah, I never heard of that one. Most people go out to Spokane or whatever, out to
Yeah,
Washington.
right.
Yeah.
So I went to the naval one
Yeah.
because being a Marine,
Right.
and it was hell because they had one Marine and they were going to break that guy down.
Yeah.
They were going to make
wanted
that
his ass.
guy
Yeah.
give.
Yeah.
They were going to make him screw up.
Yeah.
That
And-
motivates you, doesn't it?
Oh, in the beginning it did, and then like 2 days into it, I'm like losing track of reality. I haven't eaten, and I'm like, is this shit real?
Yeah, you're all of a sudden you're on
Yeah.
Jupiter going, what? Yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing, there are two things I remember about it. And one was, in the middle of it, they had this pot with a chicken in it and potatoes, and everybody lined up, and they, you know how they try to make you screw up. Well, you're going to be in charge. You're going to be my lead. No, there's a naval, whatever a naval major is. I know he had the gold Oakley
Right.
commander, whatever. No, he's in charge. No, you are. No, he is. No, you no. And they had a hose, and they would smack you with that hose.
They're trying to make you break rank structure.
Oh yeah. They're
Yeah,
trying to make
yeah,
you break from
yeah,
everything
yeah.
you're supposed to do. And so we're in line, and I get to the back of the line, you know, and sadly he's like at the front of the line. He's ready to eat. He's hungry.
Right.
I understand.
Right, yeah, it's
I
serious school.
understand.
Yeah,
Things
it's-
happen. You lose track.
Yeah.
He's up there, and the guy's doing a spiel, and he pisses him off. He walks up and kicks that bucket over full of chicken and potatoes, and it's on this muddy ground. And I went in late February, March,
Right.
which in Maine, it still snows.
Yeah.
So we actually got combined with cold weather training.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were in snowshoes, 30 inches of snow, when we got captured, digging the little snow with your poncho cover
Yeah.
over it. And he kicks that over, and I see all the potatoes and chicken going on the ground. And he goes, "Get back to your station," in his little fake accent. And everybody's scrambling and running, and I remember running by, and I see a potato that screamed my name.
That one's mine.
I grabbed that muddy potato, took 2 bites, and threw the rest down. I mean, it was a moment of weakness.
That's my potato right there.
But wow, that was the best potato I ever had.
Bet you ain't never had a better potato in your life.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow.
God, that is awesome.
But they actually, they had 2 people at the end of that SEER school at the time that were honor grads, what they call them, but not really, you know, because everybody graduates.
Right, yeah, everybody graduates, yeah.
But I was one of the 2. The 2 of us would come out at the end and explain, because I thought he was fake, and I thought it was fake, trying to get me to break in the
Mhm,
whole
yeah.
school. He comes out with this ginger bread, and a glass of milk. He's like, "Have some?" I'm like, "No, not before my guys do."
Yeah.
"No, really, school's over. We want to talk to you about how we're going to end this." "No, really, not till my guys do." I just got stubborn, tunnel
Yeah,
vision.
like you don't know.
Well, yeah,
They're playing a
yeah.
game.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
don't
game.
know where does this game end, because there was all kinds of stuff throughout that was
Yeah.
this game to get you to do something wrong. And
It's the Red Cross paper, right?
Yeah.
Sign
yeah,
the Red Cross paper. It's all it's got is your name, rank, serial number. That way we're going to send it back to Red Cross.
Right, so they know you're safe.
Yeah, so they know you're safe. You sign it, and then all of a sudden the paper underneath says, "I am a."
I am a war criminal.
Yeah, I'm
and
a
I
war
admit to all
criminal.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
So and we were the poor saps that were butt naked because we wouldn't sign them.
They want to sign the paper.
right?
Yeah.
No. I would stand around in all my embarrassment. Yeah, but
Here I am, world.
yeah, so
Yeah.
2 guys, one of them would run out with the American flag, and you would run right to the tower where the guards were, the guard tower. You'd climb it, and you'd run the American flag up the flagpole. The other guy would run out, he would knock one of their guards down, he would grab the gun, and fake shoot the guy in the tower. And that's
Oh, really? That was the way.
So it was kind of this little neat process, but basically the end of the class was raising the American flag,
Right.
and the class was over. and I got to be a part of that. I was one of the 2.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
for being stupid.
Yeah.
Because at the end they would have everybody in the class and they would debrief each one of you how you did, what you did right, what you did wrong, what you could do better if it happens. And he told me, you need to be more flexible. You are too. This is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm going to do
Right,
it.
yeah.
He said you probably wouldn't have made it.
You probably would have wound up dead.
Because every time we hit you with a hose, it would have been a rifle butt to the head.
Right.
He goes, so
You're fighting it too much.
yeah. He goes,
Yeah.
we tell you this is what you're supposed to do, but it is survival. It is SEER school.
Yeah.
You still need to make it to the end. You still need to survive. You still need to get home. We don't want you to tell any secrets. We don't want you to do any of this. In the end, we still want you to survive.
Yeah, still want you to come back.
Yeah. So.
And you gotta do what you gotta do to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really neat. It was a neat experience.
Because that's the challenge, like, when you're the only Marine there, like, you're not breaking me, like, I'm gonna prove y'all wrong.
Yeah, if it would have been all Marines, maybe I would have failed, or maybe I would have done something differently,
Right,
but it
yeah.
was that.
No, you might have been in that survival mode where you wouldn't have been so strict.
Yeah,
Or,
it would have been more survival.
It's like it's all you against me.
Yeah, and every time they bring you in, oh, you're great, you're a great American Marine warrior.
Yeah. That's what that accent.
And I'm like, yeah, that street accent now. And it's like, oh, crap. It's like, I'm not letting you beat me now. If that's what you think of me, may not be true, but dang it, I'm gonna try to live up to it.
Thanks for that promotion.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, I'm just aircrew. I'm just flying a C-130, bro. I'm no warrior.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. How many times did you go overseas? As far as being stationed or deployed or anything like that?
I was flight crew.
Yeah, so you're always
You
overseas.
spend some months. You spend one weekend at home. You'd spend a Wednesday, Thursday at home. You'd spend a week on base. Home being base.
Right, yeah, base, yeah.
I'd fly. We may fly to a couple times. Fly to Rome, Spain, or to Canada, California. You just go wherever the different training was, or transporting a plane to break down and lodges on the way back from Europe. You'd fly them a new motor, you'd fly them a new prop, whatever they needed.
Mm-hmm.
So to say I was stationed, I would have a base that I was stationed to.
But always gone.
But yeah, it was always
Always gone.
I mean, I would come home and my barracks room wouldn't pass inspection if it had to because they're so dusty from not being there.
Right, yeah.
But I was stationed in, the different training bases. Pensacola, 8th Air Force Base, Cherry Point, North Carolina. And then it was permanent duty station, NAS Columbia, Chicago. Then I was in Okinawa, Japan for a year. Then back to Cherry Point. So really, the only Marine Corps air station I wasn't at was El Toro, California.
Okay.
When were you in Japan?
Japan would have been, came back had 9 months left before I got out 95, so it would have been 93, 94.
I was in 93.
No.
I was at Masawa.
Sawa? Okay.
I used to be an intel analyst in my first job.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
out of Masawa.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I was in Okinawa, but I went to Osan, Kunsan.
Mhm.
You had been there?
Yeah,
You had been
Osan
there?
was awesome.
Osan was all.
Yeah.
I saw a 6 foot tall Korean lady and went, I didn't know they got that tall.
Steroids.
Yeah. Something weird's going on.
Sometimes I think, man, I spent a year in Osan, remember about 8 of them.
Yeah. And I remember when I first got there to Okinawa, they warned you, you're either going to become an alcoholic or you're going to gain 20 pounds of muscle mass.
Yeah, yeah.
The only 2 things you
Because
do in
that's what
Okinawa
you're
is
doing,
drink or go to the gym.
Yep.
But being KC-130 flight crew was a little different because
Yeah.
you weren't like some of the other guys. You weren't.
You didn't have that dorm time.
Yeah, you didn't. You were gone.
So I know we talked a little bit offline, and you had said something that really struck me, because I was on Osan, went up to DMZ, done all that silly stuff that when you're military, but also the tourist, when you're trying to do that. But one of the things that you had mentioned was flying on the South Korean, North Korean border. I think you have a different perspective than a lot of guys, and both in and out of the service. As you were mentioning, climbing in altitude, what you're seeing. Can you walk us through that? From takeoff to what you were actually seeing on the North Korean side?
Yeah, there was one time where we were asked to just go ahead and fly. out there in the vicinity of the DMZ, and you just going through the different altitudes, and you can hear your
SAM site.
your SAM site was on there, and you'd hear it going off. Well, you'd hear 2 or 3 at maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 feet. At 5,000 feet, she'd start talking a lot more. You get to like 10,000 feet, you'd hear, radar locks,
Yeah.
target, and you're like, wow.
And just to clarify that, you're in a plane and SAM, surface to air missile, right?
Mhm.
You're hearing North Korean surface to air missiles lock on to your plane
Yeah.
while you're
Real
flying.
world.
Yeah.
Real world.
Somebody's pointing something at me.
Yeah, somebody's pointing
And they're
something
pointing
at me.
something at me that can put me right back on the ground faster than I want to be.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I want to be on the ground, but I don't want to plummet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's real world. I
Yeah.
mean, and that's that's going on right now today.
Yeah, it's still going on.
Right now, real day, commercial airplane, they don't care what it is. They want to know what's flying by them.
Yeah.
And people don't
They
realize.
got your number.
Yeah.
And another thing I think we all three were talking about earlier was, in Korea we have these pretty advanced bases sitting there, but in all actuality they're road bumps.
Yeah.
If North Korea actually were to attack South Korea, Osan, Kunsan,
Well,
they're there to get planes in the air,
Yeah.
get missiles launched, and then
Well,
you're fodder after
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're expendable
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah. And when we were there, they would tell us. Pretty much the reality is Seoul's gone.
Seoul's
yeah,
gone.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
Seoul will be
Seoul-
the first one gone.
Kunsan and Onsan are next if they're not at the same time.
Yeah,
Likelihood of you getting your plane in time is slim to nil.
yeah.
I mean that's and you guys were there. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was a crew chief on the plane, so I know.
It's like he gets crabby and wakes up and has a bad day. You may not make it home.
Yeah.
And and you think about it. Well, why would he do that? Because then they would be annihilated. Crazy people. They don't
Yeah,
care.
crazy people don't care.
I've had my time. You're going with me.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things that I experienced at Osan, I was there when Iraq started, and we had all the
All right, so now we've left Korea after that flight, after those flights, where
Yeah.
you were up, left Korea.
Yeah, I was stationed in Okinawa.
Yeah.
Okay, Okinawa, yeah.
And come back to the States. Yeah.
Come back to the States,
Yeah.
and then from there where?
Cherry Point, North Carolina. I had
Cherry
9
Point.
months left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they moved you.
Yeah, I thought.
Is that normal for Marines? 'Cause
Not-
for the
not
Air
really.
Force, it's like basically you extend in your career to
Yeah.
get to PCS to move,
Right.
or you stay there for those 9 months.
Usually it was
Because it's not cost effective.
Yeah, usually at the time it was a 12-month. If it wasn't 12 months, it wasn't worth them.
Yeah.
But for some reason they sent me back. I'm like, yeah, I'll go back home. I'm
Right.
fine with that. So I did my last 9 months of the countdown in Cherry Point. North
No kidding.
Yeah. And that was where I started thinking, I've been to all these different countries. I've been to over 20 different countries. Been to over 20 different states. I don't have a single picture.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Back then it was a video camcorder like we were talking about. It's like, no.
Yeah.
So that's not practical. Haul around as air crew or Marine, you couldn't afford that.
Right.
But I had a camera. And I hadn't taken one single picture or anything of anywhere.
I
Except
know.
when I was in Australia, I had like 10 pictures from there.
Man, I think that's a lot of guys and gals do that is, because when you're doing it, it's just your job.
Yeah.
You're just, I gotta go here, I gotta go, and shit, sometimes it sucks.
Yeah.
You're telling me I gotta go to, I don't know, whatever, country X.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even think about,
Yeah.
because it's your job.
And most you think, oh, I've never been there before. That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Obviously,
Go do your flight plan.
Yeah,
Go do your
yeah,
charts.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a passing
Right.
thought.
When I was on the Thunderbirds, I took enough pictures. They're like, "Aren't you? Do you work for PR? Or you? I thought you were a crew chief." Like, yeah, it's my side gig.
I still like taking
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, but that's different. Though.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
better.
I'm sure I was taking a lot of pictures
Yeah,
when I was
yeah.
with the Blue Angels.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know? So that last like 9 months, I started taking pictures. Many pictures that I could. So
Right.
I flew to Florence, Italy, and our plane broke down. So
Just happened to break down, didn't it? Like,
no, I swear that motor was
Yeah,
bad.
that's what everybody
I got
said.
chips on it. Got metal on the chip detector.
I'll be
Like,
damned, boy.
it was bad.
We're gonna have to stay here for a little
But
bit.
we were close enough that it was a train ride away to Venice.
Yeah.
So I went to Venice.
Yeah.
wow, how many people want to go to Venice
Right.
and see that
Yeah.
with their significant other by themselves?
Right.
Rode the little, is it a gondola or
The
a
little boat thing in the river.
Little guy back there with a stick,
Yeah.
we're going around, and he's like, oh, that's this, oh, Don Juan, now, and I'm like, this is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
Got out and saw St. Michael's,
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That would
So-
be really cool.
and I've got pictures of that too, in the little
Man.
square pavilion, you see, like,
Mhm.
and, you know, years and years later, the Dan Brown movie comes out, and they're showing them in that same square, and I'm like, oh my God, my
And
kid's
that-
with me, I'm like, I
yeah.
got pictures of that, I've
Yeah,
been there.
I was
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Busted
yeah.
out, this is one of some of very few
Yeah.
pictures I've got, look,
Yeah,
I was there,
Yeah.
acknowledge me.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so, and then I remember I was in Canada and our plane really broke down. It was broke down hardcore bad. And I had 2 weeks left and I was end of my tour. And I'm like, man, am I gonna make it home in time?
I need to get home.
I started sweating. I'm like,
You started driving.
it's time to get out of this joint.
So then you got out. What, out of curiosity, what made you get out? Just enough of it?
No.
Just,
Dead end career.
yeah.
I mean, I was-
yeah, you couldn't go nowhere.
Yeah, I was 25 years old, and remember back when I said, "Oh, avionics, this is going to be a great career," and they waved aerial navigator in my face, not knowing that navigators aren't used anymore on transatlantic flights. You know, the new technology of INS, INS, ONS, GPS was the new thing.
Right, that was going to take over everything.
Heck yeah, GPS took over, and navigators were no longer needed; they were obsolete.
Yeah.
I mean, in the military combat world, they're still needed for CDS
Mhm.
drops, low-level navigation, all that stuff, aerial refueling, but not in the real world.
Mhm.
So it was either stay in, and now I'm in for 30 years.
Mhm.
Then what am I going to do after 30 years at what, 48 years old?
Right.
48 years old, same dead-end career, nothing equates to it in the civilian world. Who's going to hire me at 48 and train
Right.
me to do something completely different? Because that is the only skill I'm going to have right out of high
Yeah,
school.
that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
So I thought at that point, I need to decide what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. This was great. This was amazing. I've got so many tools from this. I'm going to take these tools now and go at 25 and find a career that I can be trained at for the rest of my life. So it wasn't a decision I wanted to make. I really actually was enjoying it, and I wanted to stay.
But yeah, look out for your future.
I was
Yeah.
scared to death of 48 years old, no life skill.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So then you got out at Cherry Hill, correct?
Cherry Point.
Or Cherry Point.
Yep.
Did you move back to Mishawaka
Came
after?
straight back home.
Came straight back?
Fast as I could.
That's
I
awesome.
don't have anything else out there.
Yeah.
Single guy, Cherry Point.
Yeah.
North Carolina, back to Mishawaka.
So what was some, and if you don't want to answer, that's absolutely fine. Some struggles that, especially leaving the service, and to guys and gals out there that have left, what are some struggles that kind of, after leaving, then trying to integrate back into civilian life, what was that like for the first couple years?
I think the hardest part was the military, they teach you and train you all branches. Selfless.
Yeah.
You're one of many that need to work together, and you have a task that you all need to accomplish together.
Yeah.
One set goal, one set direction. Coming out, everybody's running in parallel for their
Mhm.
own goal, their own destination, their own self-satisfaction,
True.
their own self-benefit. That was the hardest thing to get used to and to grasp.
And standards. Standards
There
are
are
a lot
none.
less, yeah.
Yeah, there are none, or if they have standards, they're so low. It's like, why is your bar set way down
And
there?
expectations and
Yeah.
whatnot. Like you're like,
Yeah.
how is this?
Yeah, how is that acceptable?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you did that. That's not even good enough. I mean, if you tried a little bit harder, things
Yeah,
like
like be
that.
proud of what you just did.
Yeah, another thing. There's no pride in accomplishment. I did this. Look how good I did. You feel good about yourself. No, it's I did this. You should feel good about me. Did you see what I did?
I think,
Give me
that's
praise.
that's
Where's
the big,
my praise?
Yeah.
Where, and you guys know in the military, you do something, there's no praise. You're happy that you did a good job, and that's enough.
Yeah, and that's what you were supposed to do.
Yeah, it's expected of you.
Yeah.
Why do less?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
They taught your, yeah.
I had a captain one time. I was a young staff sergeant, and I had a A1C that was a little bit of a problem child. But
E3,
he-
E5.
yeah, E5. He was a good guy, but a little bit of a problem child. And it finally evolved to where we went through our master, our chief, finally got to our captain of our clip team, and this kid was saying, you know, why do you expect so much of me? He goes, if I don't expect anything of you, that means I don't believe in you. So he's like, if I'm not going to expect it out of you, who's going to?
That's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember sitting in that meeting thinking, holy shit, this guy, you know what I mean? And I mean, automatically, this kid turned around. I mean, he was one of our great guys, but anyway, to your point, it's, I think it is kind of hard coming out of the service where you have a whole group of people that you feel like you're a part of it, and then you come out and you're just kind of out in the wind.
Loyalty, integrity,
But
dedication.
don't mean
it's
much
a
a
dying
lot,
breed right
yeah.
now.
But I think that's what's so great about this place, the VFW or the American Legion. Like,
Yeah,
we're all here for the common goal. Look how this jackpot is this high. It takes all of us to make it work. We're all here selflessly. None of us getting paid.
Yeah.
We like you guys are doing a great job. The place looks really nice. And we're here and we're constantly doing it. So we're brotherhood still going as the VFW as a team or the American Legion as a team or any of the auxiliaries. That's where we can come together as our past to do the things here. Like so we're talking about doing for next Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like come back and be part of the team. This is your team now.
You're part
So,
of
and that-
something bigger than yourself.
Right.
yeah, and I think that leads into a really good point. So Shawn, you know, you're here today, ex-Marine, talking to a couple of stupid
never
ass.
ex-
Yeah, they're always.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that was
Always a Marine.
that was a
Always
big
Marine.
misstep on my point.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I'm always careful when I
If
say
that was a
I correct
misstep,
you,
yeah.
somebody out there.
Yeah, I know that was a huge misstep. That was bad. But so you're here. Why come into the VFW and come here, talk to us, donate your time to do this? Why come here today?
That's a good question. You know,
Put you on the
for-
spot, but
yeah, and that's fine because I actually did think of that
Yeah,
last night after seeing you. You know, 5 times you walked by and, hey bud, on the shoulder.
yeah,
Hey bud, see you tomorrow. I put off being in the VFW and the Legion for years because you always hear it's these old cranky, crotchety guys. They sit around, all they do is drink and complain. And somebody I met in Bremen, a wonderful lady, said, you know, hey, go to the Legion with me. You want to do this? I'll go, Saga. This is great. And I came in, I thought this place is kind of cool. It's not as bad as everybody plays off.
right.
And then started meeting you guys, individuals. I'm like, oh, I've met these guys, I know them. Last night I thought, you know what? I want to be more than know them. I want to be with them. I want to be
that's
friends
awesome.
with them.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Every night that I've come for the last 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I meet new people, nice people, down to earth people, and I thought, you know what? It's time. It's time. I'm 52 years old. My kids are grown. One's in college. I want to be a part of something again. I'm not coaching lacrosse anymore,
Right.
which I did for years. I want to be a part of something that's bigger than me, that can help other people, that is still fun with people that I can relate to.
right.
And every time I come in here, no matter what the age, I feel like I can relate with everybody.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you can relate. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a family almost.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know you, but I feel like I can talk to you.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was going to some other place, I don't know that I have something in common enough. I don't open up like this. I don't
Right.
talk to people like this.
Yeah.
I don't know you guys real well, but I feel like I know you very well.
Right. Yeah,
Isn't that
because
weird?
that
Yeah.
shared experience.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
This is a place where I feel like I can be myself. I can talk to
Absolutely, yeah.
anybody, and whatever I say, I'm not going to be judged.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why. I mean, I don't know if that answers your question.
100%, man.
That's why.
It's
It's
awesome.
a good place to be.
I'm glad you're here.
We loved having you on.
I
Thanks
appreciate
so
it.
much.
I'm glad
for
you
coming.
asked me.
Yeah,
I would have
thank
never
you
like
very
thought I
much.
could do something like this.
Yeah.
It's been a joy and a pleasure.
Yeah.
No, it's just a conversation.